What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Kofi Kingston, a.k.a. 1/3 of the New Day. You're not going to say it with me, sir? Yeah, come on, you better participate. Let's try it again. 1/3 of the New Day, and you are watching The Young and the Wrestlers. Ha 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 ha.
Welcome to The Young and the Wrestlers, the Pop Culture's WWE podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Betson, alongside...
I'm as empty as the Performance Center this week. I'm Jem.
That's dark.
Dark, so dark.
But this is our SmackDown in review. It comes at you every Tuesday morning on your podcast services, 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you want to join that wrestling conversation, head over to facebook.com/groups/thepopculturist, Twitter, Discord, Instagram. All those links are in the down below area. As you can see, Jem right now, she's on their Twitters. She's like, hey, you should come and watch the show. So you can see those tweets if you come and you follow us. It's exciting. And while you're there, you can share this wrestling conversation. Tell your friends, tell your family, follow us on the socials. Be like, hey, here's a podcast that we think you might be interested in. About wrestling, about the storylines of wrestling. There's not many of us out there. Wait, have I done the Twitch part yet? No, I haven't. If you want to, if you want to join in the conversation, twitch.tv/popculturist. Watch us record the show live. It's good fun, good times, entertaining all round. However, if you want to support us financially, patreon.com/popculturist, popculturist.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other sort of shit with our logos on it. Jem, how are you right now?
I'm really good. I am full of stir-fry seasonal vegetables and tofu and rice.
Nice.
Which is an amazing dinner thanks to a friend of mine. And yeah, I'm full of sugar as well. Nice cordial. I'm good. How are you in your new chair?
My God, man. I'm talking this chair all day, every day. This chair is so good. You, Jem, from the times that we did record in here, you understand how garbage these chairs were.
Ooh,
the
yeah.
old chairs. So I'm sure you can understand my excitement, my anticipation about having these sweet, sweet new chairs. So there's
your tailbone isn't aching?
Oh, man. It's a ZQ Racing Saturn. I love it dearly. As I've been playing a game over the weekend, and I sat in here for like 15 hours, like over 2 days, and it was like not even a single bit of the bum pain at all. It was absolutely brilliant. But so how are you in the current world, Jem? So in the situation of the current thing that we cannot say on YouTube, otherwise we get demonetized. So I've been calling it the Voldemort virus, because we shall not speak its name. How are you going with all this?
I call it the cannoli virus.
That one's pretty good too.
Look, honestly, not great. 2 of my 3 jobs are on hiatus at the moment because they are like obviously group and customer service based with the beer tastings ones. I'm like in Dan Murphy's and stuff like that. And then with the merch gig, obviously a bunch of people in a room at the same time.
Getting sweaty.
And a lot of gigs are being cancelled and stuff like that. And Boondog made the executive decision to put everything on hiatus. And because we are super quiet now, my piercing job is downshifts. So I'm actually not great.
Well, because that's one of those other things in a situation like, as a piercer, it's one of those situations of like where you don't really want to get all the additional body. Hi, James. What's going on? Sorry, my son's just broken in. Yes, buddy.
Always.
Max has gone home. All right. Anyways, thank you for the follow, Fid McAwesome. I know who that gentleman is. He's a dude on Twitter that I also be wrestling fan. He's a good guy. He works for Go-To Games.
Oh, that's awesome.
Good dude. But yeah, so I think my son's... You good, brother? You want your cowboy hat? All right, I'll be right back. 1 second. We get your cowboy hat?
No worries.
All right, yeah, go talk to Mummy. Mummy will find your cowboy hat. You want to stay in here now? Okay, he's in here now, so I'm not even going anywhere. He's just here. But anyways, the reason I was asking you, Jem, about the Voldemort virus is around the idea, the conversation that the WWE, it's been affected. It's been affected pretty hard. So for that
do have
reason,
massive crowd, so it's to be expected.
Yeah, with the idea of a massive, massive crowd in one location, It's a concern. It's an issue. So this week for SmackDown, they went to the Performance Center and did it literally in front of nobody. And
exactly it.
And Fid McAwesome in the chat goes, I came for the empty arena pod. But no, this is 100%. So in a measure to prevent the additional spread of the Voldemort virus, they have made the call to do it in front of nobody, no crowd at the Performance Center. However, to their credit, they set that shit up as if they were ready to take people. There was there was bleachers, there was there was like lighting, there was pyro. It was brilliant. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was so good. There were matches, there were promos, you name it.
Look, there was 45 minutes of an Elimination Chamber match we saw about a week ago. Other than that, like, it did all right.
Yeah, exactly right. And it was cool to see, like, you know, they were making the best of a bad situation. Obviously, recently they had an incident somewhere where the show almost didn't go on because of the snowstorm going on. So it was interesting to see that they can still get a performance even though... there's no one around. And the good thing about it is they took it, like, it was a bit of a joke, but at the same time they still took it as seriously as any other show, and the show did go on. And Triple H even said it at the end of the show. He's just like, you know, if it were like, you know, the reason we are still doing this is because you're still at home watching, you know, and that's why we have the right to put it at the front of our show then, now, forever.
Now, being the giant, like I said, look, it's been... Daddy. Yes, mate. You gonna wash your hands? Awesome. That is incredible good practice there by my son for that Voldemort's fight. You know what, buddy? You wash them hands as much as you want. Wash these hands. That's right. Braun Strowman of hand washing in here. But anyways.
I love it.
Look, being the giant wrestling mark that I am, because it's well known. I'm a big fan. I did feel it when Triple H was on there, sort of having a chat, and he's sort of addressing the universe and being like, "Look, we understand. There's reasons that we couldn't do what we normally do. However, we're here. You know, we do it for you." And I'm like, "Yeah, you do it for me. You do it for me."
Yeah, because we're still watching at home.
Because one of those arguments that I've had is, well, not arguments. One of the discussions that I had recently was, in the times that we are having right now where everyone is freaking, everyone is scared and anxious, one thing that we truly need is entertainment. And regardless of people's stance around WWE and where they're at, it came down to people need entertainment, people need that escape. And I'm glad they were still able to go through and deliver it. Because look, there was two moments that actually almost kind of made me feel emotional. And I made me go, oh. And I started feeling things. And I was like, what is this? Well, I'm feeling the things. And we'll get to them. Because, look, this episode's going to be all over the shop because not really a whole lot happened. Let's just kind of run through it, Jem. Let's run through those points and then we'll just chat about the show overall. Before we do that, though, old Fid McAwesome goes, I'm sure that the Fox contract had no impact on them still doing the show. No, it was all about the kindness of their hearts, and they did it just for you and me. Just for that. That's it. Yes, buddy. Pardon? No, my headphones. He's really interruptive today. Can you please go to mummy? Yeah, can you please go to mummy? And Mad Dog in the chat says, hey guys, wash these hands.
Hey. I have so many times.
All right, run through what happened, Jem. Let's get this started.
All right, so we obviously open up in the Performance Center to Triple H announcing what's going on, obviously saying that they don't want to spread the canola virus. So, they're doing a live show for us as normal, just without the crowd. And then straight off the bat, Sasha Banks and Bayley come out and interrupt Michael Cole and Triple H, who are trying to have a discussion about them, and go on to like cut a promo even though there's no one there. They're just like, we're still the face of this division. Like, we started here, we built this center. Like, it wouldn't be here if it wasn't for us. And then they're like, obviously, like, Paige was booked to be here this week. And they're like, where's Paige? Where's Paige? Huh? Where's Paige? And Triple H is like, Michael Cole was like, look, if you let me explain, I'll tell you. And they're like, all right, go ahead. And he's like, there's been travel issues. Paige can't make it. And they're like, oh, of course she can't, blah, blah, blah. And then look at Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross come out, and they're just like, you're out here just abusing the entire women's division. And we called out Asuka and Kairi last week, but they still haven't showed up. So, all we got was some cryptic tweets. So, you know, Nikki Cross is like, we came to fight. Do you want to fight? We want to fight. Do you want to fight? We want to fight. And then they end up having a match.
Let's show it back. So like this is interesting. So Bailey and Sasha, when they do come down, they're doing like the pages, you know, hear you scream thing, which I really enjoyed because obviously no one's there. Made me chuckle. And when they did their little promo near the commentary table, they because there is kind of this unspoken rule that you don't look down the camera at WWE if you can avoid it. So impressively, they didn't. They were addressing the non-existent crowd, which I thought was a little bit bizarre, but all right.
Triple H and Michael Cole.
Yeah. And Mad Dog in the chat just goes, Trips on commentary was great.
Amazing. He was amazing.
Oh
he was
my
only
God.
supposed to be there briefly, but he ended up being in the whole night, and it made the show. Which we'll get to later.
It really,
There's a few
really
different
did.
points that come throughout the night, and it's just so funny.
So as you mentioned, there was a tag team match between the Twisted Sisters and Sasha Banks and Bailey. Just put it out there. The momentum, the feeling is completely different without that crowd. And also Stephen plays here. Hey, Stephen.
Hi. It's almost like taking a look into what they would do in the performance center, like how to perform in front of a crowd and stuff like that. It literally is going back to basics of where they started. And you could see that they were kind of taking it tongue in cheek, but they were also taking it serious as well to still, you know, give that. And, you know, throughout the match, there ends up being, like, it was a good match, even though there was no crowd. It's still like they're performing. That's what the performance center's for. And then towards the end of the match, Asuka actually shows up and attacks Alexa Bliss, which causes Nikki Cross to get distracted, and she gets rolled up by Sasha Banks. Oh, no, she gets a bank statement from Sasha Banks.
Yeah, and then Nikki does the big old tap.
Yeah, she ends up having to tap, which was a bummer.
And then
it was interesting to see that
Asuka just dancing to no one. Having a great
it was
time.
The funniest.
Absolute great time.
It was so good. She was dancing around the whole place. It was so funny. I love just how, like I said last week, I love how eclectic the Kabuki Warriors are and how just like crazy fun they are. But it was actually a really good match. Granted, there was no one around. And I wasn't expecting to see Asuka. So that was a really nice touch seeing her there. Clearly making a statement that the Kabuki Warriors are coming to defend their titles against the Twisted Sisters.
Very true. Very true. Now, look, for those that may not know, the best part about this show for us is we stick within the kayfabe. We have fun. We pretend it's all like all silly and real. And
generally they do too, but that's out the window.
Yeah, let's break that for a second. This was great because there was footage that went out this week shortly after of them
I saw that.
during the ad breaks not wrestling.
Not wrestling.
Funny as shit, because that's the one thing. The problem that they have is they can't do their usual calls. They can't be like, we're going to do this, or because, you know, when they hold their hair and they talk to each other. The difference that they have is like they can't do that because the mic would have picked that up in a heartbeat. Like that's completely not drowned out by the crowd. So it's interesting. It was fascinating, actually.
Yeah.
Because like, why would they keep going and risk getting like hurt or injured or even just doing it or getting tired when they don't have to? There's no one to impress.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it was absolutely
All right,
awesome.
kayfabe back on.
Yeah, exactly right. But yeah, it was absolutely awesome. Like, it was really fun to see. And then up next was a little in-ring interview with Roman Reigns about the whole Goldberg thing, which it's so funny because, like you say, like we're all about the kayfabe, but you could tell it was clearly lifted this week because Michael Cole said something along the words of like, we're like playing this as spear versus spear, and just the terminology he was using was like totally not kayfabe at all.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to see that they were sort of getting fourth wall-y and breaking that. But yeah, he basically like, one thing I was a bit bummed about is obviously everybody's coming out in their A game and Roman Reigns just rocks out with a bun and his trackies on. Like, you wouldn't do that for a normal interview. Like, at least play the part. Like,
Yeah, but look, calm down, Jem. This is the one time that Roman has ever entered an arena and not been booed. So he should be really happy right now. Like, everyone should be really, really stoked because it's just, it makes sense. He's like, oh, wow, this is This is like someone's happy to see me in this building. Finn McCoy from the chat has jumped in and goes, opinion. They have Jeremy Borash on staff now who has experience with creating a wrestling show with next to no audience. Why not give him a shot at producing SmackDown? Make it more reality show like with promos backstage and not in the ring, similar to Impact for 6 or 7 years. I like that idea. Because so, especially as we're in this little window of time right now where they will be producing smaller shows to no one, I think having someone like that come in and offer some expertise, at least in the short term, could really help change it and make it work within this time frame. Because like an example is tomorrow at time of recording, we'll be watching... We'll be watching Raw, and Raw is going to have Stone Cold. And Stone Cold, this is the first, like one of the first times that he'll come out to nothing. Like, no excitement. Because,
same with
like,
John Cena this week.
Yeah, because these are two huge names that at least get some massive reaction, and they won't here. So I think by having someone that can help that work, and because as we mentioned, that line will need to be blurred around what the kayfabe or what the story is in order to fit the greater narrative here, or at least work within the confines that they have. And as you mentioned, like Roman coming out, even in his like casuals, like they were still able to blur that line quite nicely, talking about even impressively discussing a WrestleMania match that may not even happen.
Yeah, exactly right. But he's still sold it. Like, he's just like, you know, the difference between Goldberg and I is like, you know, Goldberg was brought into this, but I was born into this. It's like, you know, he's a one-trick pony, whereas I was, you know, I was born into a wrestling family. I'm a third-generation superstar or whatever. I've eaten off the WWE table since I was born. He's like, you know, there's no way that Goldberg can beat me. Like, I was born for this.
And it's the thing that we know, and like they touched upon a lot of the issues that we've all sort of felt around champions like Brock, like Goldberg, like the being part timers, man. Like you can't be invested in them, you can't really care, and it's kind of bullshit. So. I've done this before with like Seth Rollins had a very similar sort of promos around Brock Lesnar, sort of towards WrestleMania last year. So like we are treading old stuff, but it's relevant stuff. It's stuff that we as the universe, we as the viewers feel like. You know, like we don't want to see it on some part timer, like, but right now most people don't want to see it on Roman either. But it's better than nothing. So in terms, let's move on to, speaking of belts on people that semi-unexpected, at Elimination Chamber, Sami Zayn won his first ever singles title on WWE main roster and became the Intercontinental Champion. So here we saw him with Cesaro and Nakamura in the backstage area getting super excited, getting really keen. Yeah, it's good fun.
Just to have Kayla Braxton say, "Hey guys, like you've been bumped," and he was like, "You told us we were doing this," and she's like, "We were, but you've been bumped." And Sammy's like, "You know what? That's actually fine because we're gonna go celebrate. Let's go, boys!" And they just walk on off. And
good energy. I really enjoyed Sammy here.
Oh yeah, it was great. It was so good. He was just all about it, even though there was no hype in the background, no booing, no nothing. And Kayla introduces her actual guest, which is the return of the high flyer, Jeff Hardy.
Oh, what a rough day to come back.
I know.
What a rough day.
Yeah, it bummed me out the way he had to come back, but I was glad to see him back. And he starts talking about how, like, he's taken the time off to find himself and, you know, realize what he wants and what he wants to do and where he's going. And as he's talking about it, he gets interrupted by Mr. King Corbin, who's like, "Nobody cares that you're here." And Jeff's is like, "They did. They were really happy." But
like three people were super stoked.
Yeah, exactly it. And then Corbin just goes to make, you know, we all know Jeff Hardy's had a troubled past, and Baron Corbin just capitalizes on that, and he's like, "Let me guess, you're here to count to 10 or walk in a straight line or close your eyes and touch your nose." And Jeff's like, "No, actually, I'm here to fight. And I don't know if you've heard the news, Your Majesty, but I'm here to fight you."
Brilliant.
Baron Corbin's like, "What?"
Yeah.
And then you hear the guitar strum. And Baron Corbin turns around. He's like, "What do you want?" He's like, "Well, you know, I don't forget and I remember what you said about me last week, and I wrote a song about it, and I want to sing it to you. And like Corbin's like, I don't have time for this. And it's like, no, just take it a sec. And he starts strumming his guitar, and Baron Corbin's like, ugh, and just storms off. And Elias is like, Elias goes, he has no idea what's coming. And now I'm like, oh, what's coming?
Oh, yeah.
I don't have any idea either.
All right, before we jump into the match between Jeff Hardy and King Corbin, we'll have a look at the chat. So Fid McAwesome's also to follow on for a conversation of part-time with Brock. He goes, I like Brock as a part-timer. It's like back in the 80s when a champ was someone special to see on television. And I do agree with that. I do feel that I'm getting a lot of Stockholm Syndrome when it comes to Brock Lesnar. Like when I see, he's a boss fight. Like he's literally a mountain to climb, and I really like that. So in the same way with using Rumble as an example, we discussed this a while ago. He was essentially a gauntlet match. Like he was a one-man gauntlet match. So everyone would come in, and it's just wave on wave on wave for a big boss fight, and I thought it was fantastic. I don't like when we were watching it. You weren't here with us, so we were watching it here at the Rumble. No, you were here for the Rumble.
I was here for Rumble.
Yeah, and like our good friend Craig got real pissed about it. He didn't enjoy it at all. But it was one of those things. Like, so whoever does take him out, they look really good. Finn McCosker goes, we all know what WWE stands for. Walk with Elias. I'm not going to yell it again.
With Elias.
Stephen also adds, there was a time when it wasn't like that, however, but when Brock shows up motivated, it's a joy to watch. Like Brock versus AJ, Brock in the Rumble, exactly. When Brock gives a shit, he is absolutely like exceptional.
Oh, yeah.
Dash has a sheet for us. Ooh, yeah. So for those that don't know, once again, because we've got a couple of new viewers here today, we have a good friend, Dash. Dash is also a content creator like us, but he's not just a content creator. He is a proprietor of dirt sheets. He is the man that scours the internet. He pages people. He smoke signals. He does a little bit of Morse code here and there to get you the behind the scenes news that you need to know about in terms of the wrestling world. And right now, it's probably one of the best times to get some sheet action. So at the end of the show, we bookend it with Dish in the Dirt from Dirt Sheet Dash. He's Dash Meltzer, and he gives us all the info that we need. Now, kayfabe, the best part of it, he makes half of it up, and it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
All right, back to it. And Jacob's here as well. Hey, Jacob, how you doing, man?
Hello.
But yeah, this match, King Corbin, Jeff Hardy.
I've spoken enough. Why don't you?
Yeah, so interestingly enough, King Corbin comes up first. No booing. Bizarre. I did it in my house. It's like, boo, King Corbin, boo. I did it for him. Even though I've gone on the record of being very pro
Somebody's gonna do
King
it.
Corbin, especially during the King of the Ring tournament. I was like, Baron Corbin's winning that shit. He's got my money.
Yeah.
So it was cool.
Yeah, you know what?
But then Jeff Hardy came out to his tunes, which got me really excited. I thoroughly enjoyed that personally. Now, we're not throwing any order of the show out here, but because
that's fine. We're just
we're just going with the flow. But they had Elias at commentary, which was great fun. And so
it was fun because like Triple H was poking fun at Elias because Elias was like, thanks, Michael Cole. And Triple H is like, what about me? And he's like, I thought Michael Cole invited me. And I was like, I improved it. And he's like, well, thank you as well. It was all just a bit of fun.
Yeah, we'll discuss that at the end about just the beautiful like silliness that was on display here. But it was pretty by the numbers. There was nothing too staggeringly different here. There was
I mean, as Baron Corbin does, he did attack before the bell.
Yeah, because there was a discussion around like the bell, like didn't the bell ring? No, that's the entrance bell. Then there's the start bell. Elias getting a little bit confused on what goes where. What was it, sorry?
Yeah. It was Triple H that was getting confused.
Jacob in the chat goes, I also hate that they are still using the Hardy Boys theme for him and he needs to have his old singles theme back.
I don't know. I love it.
I like the doom, 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 doom. It makes me pop.
It's got the right energy. Yeah.
So he came out with no face makeup this time. So prior to him
I did notice that.
leaving a year ago, or suspended, taking some time away, he was wearing this cool face makeup. None of that today. So it's a bit of a change. The other change was the renaming of the Twist of Fate. It is now called the Twist of Fury. Now, Jem, longtime Hardy fan, what do you think of the rename?
I think it's an evolution. I really do. I think, they've held on for the Twist of Fate for so long, and the Twist of Fate has primarily been a Matt Hardy move, which has been shared by the pair. And with Matt Hardy departing, I think it was probably the best move to make. I think it really separates Jeff from the Hardy Boys and brings him into his own thing, giving it its own name. Even though it's a shared move, it gives it its own name, and it gives it to Jeff Hardy, so he's got something for himself. It was just awesome to see it in action. We haven't seen it for so long that it was just so good to see it properly, as well as the swanton from the top rope. I love watching Jeff Hardy fly from the top rope. So it was good to see like classic Jeff Hardy mixed with this new, very clearly hungry Jeff Hardy, because he did get the win over Baron Corbin with a distraction from Elias, who jumped up on the announce table and started playing guitar, and Baron Corbin was very transfixed on Elias, and just got his ass handed to him.
Yeah, and I agree with you. So apparently the name change isn't something new. So previously for like Impact and all the other different, when they've gone around different places, they have given it different names to different places. But similar to yourself, I think it's great to get that distance. So not in a bad way, because there's not an issue. There was a rumor mill that that Matt owns the trademark for Twist of Fate, therefore he couldn't use it when he's not at WWE. And then Dash also adds that TNA, it was Twist of Hate. It has flex depending on where they're watching it. But no, similar to yourself, it was cool to have him back. I wish there was a bigger pop. I wish there was a better timing, but it's just a bit unlucky.
And one thing I did see is somebody said something about trademarking on Twitter, and Matt Hardy replied, and he said, I haven't trademarked it. That was a decision between Jeff and the WWE, and a decision that I fully support. It's not actually a trademarked name, I don't believe. So it's just, him giving his own.
Yeah, so Dirt Dash reiterates that with Matt Hardy did say that WWE are free to use it with no implication. So by the sound of it, there is no bad blood between Matt Hardy and the WWE. They did left relatively amicably. The decision was more creative rather than some sort of dispute. So that is a big positive. Speaking of a surprisingly positive, Daniel Bryan approached Drew Gulak.
Just quickly.
Yes.
I do want to mention Triple H did say to Elias at the end of it, he's like, you've got skill, kid. I've never seen somebody play a guitar so badly that it knocked an opponent out. And Elias was like, well, and Triple H is like, it's a skill. Like, good for
you can't argue that it's a skill. It is certainly.
Triple H just taking the piss all night. I'm pretty sure just after that he drew on Michael Cole with a permo because his little stash was looking a little white. Like you can talk, Hannah. But yeah, sorry, I just had to put that in.
That's perfectly fine. So as I mentioned in positive, so Drew Gulak was in the back. Daniel Bryan walks up to him and is like, dude, I've never had anyone match me in a ring like that. It's been a week. My neck's still hurting. You pretty much had a counter for me every time. Maybe you are right. Maybe there is something that you and I can do together to help improve my game.
Yeah, and he says straight out, like, if you're willing to teach, I'm willing to learn. And as he's saying this, Sami Zayn, Cesaro, and Shinsuke Nakamura come up, and Sami obviously goes on about how, like, hey, look what happened to you. You almost lost to a nobody when you could have been one of us, and, you could have been the Intercontinental Champion right now. And Bryan sort of steps up to Sami Zayn, and Cesaro steps in, and Daniel Bryan's like, I don't have a problem with you. I've got a problem with him. And Cesaro's like, you've got a problem with him, then you've got a problem with me. And Daniel Bryan's like, those sound like fighting words. Where the ring is, why don't you meet me there? And
side note, Triple H being fantastic again, proceeds to make the comment. He's like, oh my God, well, after a promo like that, Nakamura can get whatever he wants. Nakamura didn't say a damn thing. It was beautiful. And also, thank you to Ready Player B for giving us the little follow there. How are you? Thank you very much for joining us. I hope you like what you see.
Yeah, it was the funniest thing. But yeah, he did. He's just like making jokes like that. Drew Gulak's like, I'm a nobody, huh? And then walks off with Daniel Bryan. And then when it comes down to their match, Daniel Bryan enters with Mojo Rawley, and Mojo's chanting yes, and Daniel Bryan's like, there's nobody here. Then Mojo clearly says something along the lines of, it doesn't matter, like, you've still got to do this, like, this is one of your flaws type thing. So Daniel Bryan's like, fuck it. Yes, yes. And then just jump into the ring chanting yes together.
I really enjoyed that. It was
That was so good. It was so, so good. And then, yeah, there was a whole bunch of shit here because, like, it goes to an ad break, it comes back, and Triple H is behind the camera filming Michael Cole, still with his headset on, talking about how times are tough and they've got shit they've got to do.
I did like that. It's like there was a lot of DX Triple H here on the show, which I really enjoyed.
He was clearly just having some fun because he doesn't get to be on camera that much, and he was clearly just having some fun with it. And Michael Cole even says, he's like, you know, I used to cop a lot of shit from you guys with DX, and now I've got to deal with it again. And H is just like, well, it's been a while, Cole.
But I did like that sort of behind the camera. He's like, look, man, like we're short staffed. There's a lot of people need to do more than one thing. And there's some say you don't do it very well. But, well, you know, like.
Yeah, that's why they wanted me back on commentary.
Cole. It was brilliant.
Yep. There was some tweets and now I'm back because you can't do your job properly either.
So Replay B jumps goes, hello, had to come check out my girl Jem. And of course, I had to follow. Hit me up with the WWE goss.
Love
that
it.
we
Thank
certainly
you.
can do, player. No worries
Awesome.
at all.
One thing I did love is after this as well, they have Mojo Rawley come out wearing a beautiful pink getup. He looked amazing. Because there's been rumors flying around about like
Gronk.
is it NFL?
Gronkowski,
Rob Gronkowski, yeah. The Gronk coming to the WWE, and apparently he's best mates with Mojo Rawley. So Mojo comes out and he's like, I can confirm that he's going to be here next week. Don't know if he's coming to the WWE, but he's going to be here. And he's getting all hyped about it. And he's like, get hyped, Michael Cole. And he's like shaking Michael Cole, and like he knocks his like microphone out of the way, and Cole fixes it up. He's like, come on. And then Triple H is like, yeah, Cole, get hyped. And Triple H gets into it as well. And then Mojo goes running off, and it was just the dumbest but the best thing. And then we obviously get into the match finally, like Cesaro, Sammy, and all that come out, and Sami Zayn sits down on commentary and beautifully just chats away because he is such a good mouthpiece.
He is.
And he had the right energy about the show, and the match goes on with Daniel Bryan and Cesaro, and I loved this because Drew Gulak was obviously in Daniel Bryan's corner, and you could see Daniel Bryan rolling over to Gulak to get advice about Cesaro. And it worked. Like, it actually worked. Like, Daniel Bryan did get the win on Cesaro with the help of Drew Gulak. But unfortunately, that did cost Gulak because after the match, Shinsuke got in the ring and started to attack. Sami Zayn joined in. Drew Gulak got involved as well to try and help Daniel Bryan and actually got himself, like, beat the shit out of. But it was really awesome to see that after such a big feud, him and Daniel Bryan are working so cohesively together so quickly. And I'm actually really excited to see what Drew Gulak can bring to Daniel Bryan. And I think it'd be really, really cool to see them come together as a tag team. And I reckon those two together could be tag team material. Like, they are both really technical, really like proper wrestling type superstars. Like, they are proper wrestlers, and they're really going to bring something to the tag division. And SmackDown needs more tag teams. They really do.
Well, I completely agree because I think Raw needs more tag teams than anything, but it is cool to have them in it. So whether they become a tag team or not, I really like the dynamic in terms of, you know, Gulak offering advice. So Gulak is, as we discussed before, he's not a nobody. He's an, you know, previous 205 champion. He does have a history of winning, and it's one of those things like maybe that different outlook or that different look could be what helps shape Daniel Bryan into becoming a champion again. You know,
Exactly right.
Daniel Bryan has had a good
It's awesome
reign.
to see him admit defeat and say, hey, I need help.
Very much. That's a lot. That's a very strong as a character to get in that.
Yeah, exactly right.
Ready Player B goes, tag team material. We love that in men. And Mad Dog 100% agrees with you, Jem. I think the potential for the pair is brilliant. I think even if they don't tag team, we just see some incredible work between them, and we see hopefully improvements in both of them. And you know, worst case scenario, Daniel Bryan makes Drew Gulak look amazing.
Exactly right.
Because if you know,
Right.
with the concern about him, you know, being a nobody, this is giving him the opportunity to be someone, or to show the WWE universe why they should care about Drew Gulak.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right.
All right. So as you mentioned, I mentioned at the start of the show, the elimination, in order to kill time, they just straight up showed the tag team championship match from Elimination Chamber. That went for like 45 minutes. That was a good way to kill some stuff.
Yeah, exactly it.
Which was interesting nonetheless. But it did end with Miz and Morrison in ring.
Miz and Morrison. Hey, hey, ho, ho. It's catching on.
There was no one in the crowd to confirm that.
There was no one. But it was awesome because they were able to just sit there and cut a promo without being like booed over. Mm-hmm. And it's fun to listen to them talk because Miz really is super Hollywood and he's really good at talking. And, you know, they talk about being the best tag team in the 21st century and how their first proper title defense was in an Elimination Chamber and that can't get them down. You know, it was really good to see them just cut sick there and just have a bit of fun with it. You know, they go on and they're like, oh, you know, if anybody objects to the fact that we're the best tag team in the 21st century, like, say something. And there's nothing. And they're like, nah. And like, even John Morrison looks over and he's like, Triple H, no, okay. Like, it was so good. Just a little bit of cheesy fun. It was good to fill some time. And yeah, like, I don't know. Like, I do like Miz and Morrison, but I don't see them keeping those titles for long.
Yeah, see, this is the thing. Like, we've discussed before, but I don't get the appeal of John Morrison right now. I understand his world outside WWE in terms of being like Johnny Nitro and stuff like that. And even back in the day when he was teaming with The Miz, I don't know what it is, but it's just not landing for me personally.
No. I mean, this was good because they were taking like slight little digs at each other about their movies and stuff like that and how, you know, it was a bit of fun that they were taking digs at each other while still being a tag team. But yeah, I definitely don't see it lasting too long. I feel like they both work better as singles competitors. And I think they should really separate them. I think it should be, honestly, I think Miz and Morrison should be separated and it should be replaced with Gulak and Bryan. I think that would be the best way to take it.
I think you might be correct there. That actually would be, because maybe there'll be some division between the two of them and that'll cause a bit of a split. But let's get into the final. Mm-hmm. The final segment of the night. John Cena. He's there. But before we get that.
Was he? There was nobody else there. I couldn't
tell. It was an empty arena and then just the camera panning. It was really super weird. So Triple H kicks this off first, talking about how, you know,
like I said before,
as we said at the start of the show, they talk about, you know, missing the crowd there because it is a different dynamic, it's a different feel, and they talked about how that even in like the worst of times, they still have the power to have the right to back what they say at the start of the show with then, now, and forever. And then they do that very nice NXT pan to the arena as music kicks in.
Oh, and the different camera angles this week because there was no like hard cam type thing was so awesome.
Felt indie.
Just
was
seeing
good.
like matches. Yeah, seeing matches being like camera, like the camera coming from down the ramp was just, it was so cool to see those different angles instead of seeing everything from the, you know, right side of the ring.
Because yeah, as I mentioned, like, because being the mark that I am, like there were moments that got me emotional, and like both Triple H's little spiels kind of made me go, oh man, like this is
why I watch this.
Yeah, because it's one of those things. I've talked about this 1,000 times. Like, wrestling came to me at a very important time. It was a time where I was burnt out from everything that I'd been doing, and I needed something. And I needed something to help my own mental health. And wrestling became that. It became the thing that allowed me to focus my when the shits get crazy, I focus it on wrestling, and it becomes handy and it mellows me out, and it's something that I really, really, truly enjoy. So it makes me very happy to sort of hear things like this. What are you stoked about?
Oh, I just realized who Ready Player B is.
Oh, who is it?
It's just a friend of mine.
Oh, nice, very nice.
Yeah. So, super exciting.
So something else that got me a little bit. It moves me a little bit. So once when the music hits and John Cena comes down, he holds up his little towel, never give up, and he says the circumstances may be different, but the message is still the same. And I was like, fuck,
stop it, my heart.
Yeah, I got a little moment,
and that's why I love him. Yeah, and that's why I love him. Is like, you know, unapologetically like always about it. Like, and that's what I love. He's all about hyping people up and the positivity that comes with it. And, you know, and Michael Cole even says, you know, this must be a first for you. And John Cena's like, I've literally never been in a situation like this before. But it doesn't change anything.
Because this there's another point that I'll make is because I didn't watch wrestling during the ruthless aggression era, I never got to see peak Cena in terms of when he was there and he was so divisive, right? And when he won all the time and all so I never saw it. So I don't have or understand the disdain that some people have towards him.
Yeah, and see, I'm the polar opposite with it. Like, I'm very much like you with Baron Corbin, and while everybody hates him, I absolutely love him because I've seen what he's been through from the first words he ever spoke in the WWE, which were ruthless aggression, and like almost taking out Kurt Angle, and then getting his hand shook by The Undertaker straight after it, to now, like, coming back every now and then. Like, it's been a big old ride, and like, John Cena's been a huge part of my WWE life, so I always get a little bit emotional when he was there. And like I did when he said, you know, Wrestlemania is going to go on without me. I was like, oh, that's a bit disappointing. Like it's going to be the first year in however long. But at the same time, it was like, you know, it was really interesting to see him in this situation and see him go through another thing that he's never been through before. And he handled it just like everybody was there. Like it was still the same old, like he's like, you know, John Cena talks real talk, and he's obviously asked about, you know, the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, blaming John Cena for why he is the way he is now. And John Cena's like, you know, the reason I am where I am today is because I accept my failures. I admit that I failed. I blame nobody else but myself, and I use that to move on and be better. And the reason Bray Wyatt is where he is because he's blaming everybody else but himself. Like, you can blame me all you want, but you're the one who failed and you're the one who's got to pick up for yourself. And unfortunately, buddy, you're not the future of this industry. Your Velveteen Dreams, your Matt Riddles, your Tommaso Ciampas, your Johnny Garganos, they are the future. Yeah. Bray Wyatt, you're not.
But like, I'm just going to put this out there as well, because as having not seen the negative of John Cena, I find him charming as fuck. Like, he is so charming. And this entire time that he's running this promo, he's commanding that room and no one's even there. And
no one's there.
I forgot that no one was there. It was
there was
awesome. There was one person. Before we jump into that though, I want to read the comment here that the Ready Player B has left in the chat.
Yes.
A lot of people I know have found wrestling in a similar way to myself. It came to them in a time of need and it helped them get through. It's really wholesome to see such a positive community where the misconception of wrestling is aggression and arrogance. You, my friends, make me smile. Keep doing you.
You are the biggest
Thank
sweetheart.
you, Reddy. Thank you so much.
You are such a sweetheart. Thanks, B.
But no, very much so, man. Like that's the thing. Like, yeah, wrestling is, yeah, it filled a void that I didn't realize I was missing. You know, 2 years ago now, and this show came from that because I loved it so much that I needed to get it out.
You know, like we met Kofi Kingston and we even discussed with him, and it's not just like, it's generational. It's something that you're passing on to your son and he'll likely pass on to his son and so on and so forth. You know, if I ever have kids, like, wrestling's going to be a huge part of their life because it's part of mine.
Yeah.
It's, you know, something I've always used as a positive escape. Because it's not all negative. It's just a fun little, you know, forget about everything for 2 to 3 hours, depending on the show you're watching, and then move on. Like, there's nothing violent or aggressive about it. It's just a bit of fun.
And that's the big thing about the show that we do here. Like, we embrace the silly, we embrace the stupid, we embrace the things that people complain about with, especially WWE, like storylines and all that stuff. We take it and we turn it on its head and we have fun with it. And we stick within the silliness of the kayfabe. We know it's not real. Everyone knows it's scripted. But why can't we have fun with that? Why does everything have to be this person's being buried? It's us versus them in terms of promotions. That doesn't need to exist. For us, it's all about just having fun and really enjoying something and just having a great and surrounding yourself with good people. Speaking of surrounding yourself with good, positive people within the wrestling community, Josh Robinson just came in the chat. Another individual who is incredibly positive within the wrestling community. He himself just started his own little wrestling network. It's very cool. Go check it out, the Josh Robinson 00 network. If you want some more positive wrestling vibes, he's certainly a man to chat to, and we'll hopefully have him on here one day as well. Ready Player B also adds 100%. I grew up watching wrestling with my grandfather, and I have very fond memories of him laughing and yelling "oof" at the TV. It's definitely an over-the-top event, but that's the point. It's meant to be fun. It's meant to give a healthy outlet for negative feelings, because it is. It's the big battle of good and evil. It is the epitome of what people want in storytelling.
Yeah, some people like Gossip Girl or Sex and the City or whatever, like Supernatural. That's wrestling for me.
Yep.
That's my that's my weekly show. You might watch Supernatural, I watch wrestling.
Yeah.
So. But yeah. Anyway, speaking of only one person in the room.
Yes, I think you're right.
Because I'm the only one in here. Bray Wyatt was front row.
Oh, that was awesome. So that was a good pet.
That was the cool. I was not expecting that.
Me either, not a little bit. So he's ringside. So John Cena and Marco Cole are chatting to each other. You hear a laugh, camera pans, and there he is just in the crowd. And like
Mr. Rogers in a bloodstained sweater.
Standing there super excited. He's like, oh man. And like, it was awesome. Just the energy that came off him was fantastic.
And that's the thing is like nobody was there and still Bray Wyatt was Mr. Rogers' Funhouse Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
Like he just, no breaking character. He's just like, it's funny you're saying all these mean things about me, but that's okay, John, because, that's fine. Like you say what you want to say. Like truth is like you ruined me and it's going to be a slaughter at WrestleMania. Like, he's like, I'm literally going to end you.
Yeah, I'm going to fucking kill you. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much, basically, he's like, it was just beautiful. He just delivered so perfectly. And, I don't know, Bray Wyatt he's perfect.
What I really liked here is, where they're going, when we're looking at the Universal Championship as an example, like, it's just two dudes punching each other, right? There's no real story other than Roman wants his belt back, right? Mm-hmm. Here, this is a personal story. This is a situation of, like as they mentioned, this is John Cena and Bray Wyatt with a past, a fight of a previous WrestleManias. There is such good history here, and the promo that we saw between the pair of them, as I mentioned with John Cena, it took all focus. There was no one else in the room, but you kind of forgot as you were drawn into these two characters chatting to each other, getting deep with each other. So I think having no one in the room actually made it feel even more personal.
It was eerie as
shit. It made it uncomfortable.
Yeah, that one-on-one, that stare down, like it really did just make me super uncomfortable. And then when the screen went black and the laughter started, I was sitting there like, man, I don't, what?
Yeah.
Like it was unsettling. And I was kind of like, where's the nearest light? And I was watching it in the middle of the day. It was really unsettling, and you could see there was a little bit of fear in Cena's eyes, and there was determination in Bray Wyatt.
Yeah. So Josh,
it's gonna be a good match.
Oh, it will be. So Josh in the chat goes, he oozes star quality. I loved everything about that segment. Well, I loved the whole show really, but heck, this was using the no crowd deal to the best of their abilities.
Yeah. And, John Cena says the future around Bray Wyatt's not, but he wouldn't be doing what he's doing if he didn't believe that Bray Wyatt was the future.
Yeah. Brilliant. But anyway, that does bring us to the end of our SmackDown recovery review thing. So, Jem, how do you think they went about dealing with the circumstance here of having no one in the crowd?
I think they did it great. Honestly, I was having so much fun with it. I'd been told by somebody it was a bit meh, but I enjoyed the whole show. I love that they, they took it seriously, but not too much. I love that there was a bit of gagging and joking from Triple H. He was clearly just having a blast with it. It was a lot of fun. And I think given the circumstances, they really did deliver. And Look, I'm probably, I'm being super generous here, but I loved every part of the whole thing, and I'd probably give it I'd give it 2 Kurtz.
Yeah, I think in a situation of everything sort of being stacked against them, I think they delivered something pretty good. Like, it sucks that a big hunk of it was Elimination Chamber. However, in the best they could do, I'm similar to you, I would also give it 2 Kurt Angles, or at least a Kurt and a bar. So for those that don't know, once again, our rating system is based around Kurt Angle because he looks like a thumb. So we go 2 Kurt Angles or a bar being a half. But yeah, I think for what they had on offer, I think they delivered exceptionally well. And I'm very fascinated to see how they do it for 3 hours with Raw tomorrow, as time of recording. I think it will be incredibly interesting to see how that works. But anyways, Jem...
He's hoping that they replace Jerry Lawler with a ham steak.
Or just anyone else. Or they just fucking not let him in.
Just put a can of Spam there. It'll be better.
So the Mullet Show also agrees, and then he was mad because he may have been late. He goes, they did what they could under the circumstances, and Josh Robinson adds, me too. The cuffs are off, and it made us smile. The world is pretty intense at this moment, and it was nice to have someone try to give us a smile. And that I agree with completely. I did.
I forgot for a moment that there was horrible shit going on. Yeah,
just people were freaking out and having a really rough time. Like we're certainly not in a plague or anything, but it is a rough time. The anxieties are through the roof. People are having a really tough time. So it's cool to have a window of time where it's not affecting us. Because when that world around us, one of the biggest concerns right now, Jem, is WrestleMania. So it looks as if WrestleMania will probably not happen under there being we're trying to do social distancing, and WrestleMania would have had of upwards of 80 to 90,000 people in one arena. That is not social distancing.
Not at all.
So to add to that, our good friend Dash over Dish in the Dirt with Dirt Sheet Dash. As we said, he comes in every week. He scours the internet. He finds all the information that you need to hear about for wrestling here in one spot. Now today, Jem, it is very, very simple. It is one bit of wrestling news, and it adds about what we just talked about. He goes, the only one piece of news that you need today. WrestleMania is cancelled. We broke the news of WWE moving their show's Performance Center last week, which we did. Dash, once again, kayfabe broken. Dash pulled that straight out of his bumhole. And then it turned out to totally happen. So,
Dash is good like that.
Well done, Dash. All right, kayfabe back on. And now we're about to break the biggest story in wrestling history. WrestleMania is cancelled. I cannot believe I'm about to write this piece of news, but the CDC has informed the WWE that WrestleMania cannot and will not take place on April 5th from Tampa, Florida. In an effort to contain the Voldemort virus, the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention is advising against gatherings of 50 people or more for the next 8 weeks. Now, that's in the US. Now, in Australia, we have that weird 500 rule because our Prime Minister needed to go to the Cronulla game. This essentially bookends plans for WrestleMania at Raymond James Stadium. It's still possible that Vince McMahon would want the show to continue in a venue like the Performance Center, but that seems very unlikely, and at this point, rescheduling the show seems like the best idea. The agency has warned against large events including, quote, conferences, festivals, parades, concerts, sporting events, weddings, and other types of assemblies, end quote. And organizers are being asked to cancel or postpone events. At the time of writing, WWE has not made an announcement around WrestleMania. The 40-day travel ban from Europe, including the UK, invoked by the US President Donald Trump, solidified the decision to call off WrestleMania 36. Word came through early this morning, and since then, Vince has been in panic mode.
Understandably.
Yeah, what do you think, Jem?
First year ever that they've not been able to go ahead.
Yeah.
Look, Triple H was making like jokes about Vince McMahon, like putting on his best Vince McMahon and being like, it's a crisis. Show must go on, like just being a dick about it. It was so funny, like, because you can clearly tell, like, it's the truth, but he's trying to have fun with it. Look, I think that Vince is going to try and make it happen anyway. But I honestly believe, like, if he tries to push it too far, he's going to lose everyone. They're just going to not show up, and he's not going to have a show to go ahead. You know, I feel like the superstars are obviously concerned for their health because they do see a lot of people all the time. Like, it's going to be one of those situations where they'll back him into a corner and Vince will have to back down.
Well, that's one of the rumor mills I've heard now. I'm unsure whether we can substantiate this, but there was rumor mill that one of the reasons that Vince hasn't pulled the plug yet is because if he is forced to pull the plug, he can therefore claim it was out of his control and possibly get insurance to sort of help cover the cost. Because I did also read somewhere that $150 million will be lost, whether that be by WWE or the surrounding area. It's a bit unsure. But it is very difficult. But as Josh says in the chat, health first, wrestling second. It is the right call. Now, on a personal level,
100%.
You know, I'm in two minds. I'm personally very happy that the safety is coming first. However, I'm also bummed. I love WrestleMania. I have a day off planned. It would have been a great event. For myself and probably the Mullet Show in the chat, you know, like he and I would just hang out. And
I would have been there.
Yeah, Jem would have been there. You would have been there. It would have been great.
Yeah,
it would have been fantastic. However,
Mania is always a good.
You know, it's one of those things that it sucks, but it is the best option, right?
100%.
So,
and there's always other ways to bring in revenue as well. Like, you know, maybe put a deal on the WWE network and have all the old stuff available for people, and you know, people will go back and watch old WrestleManias for the nostalgia and things like that. You know, there are ways to still profit while losing out. You know.
So, how do you think they are going to go about moving forward? Like, are we going to see the WWE not be on television for a little while this is sort of well, we're in this situation with the Voldemort virus. We can't look. The reason I use that term is we can't. It's the name that can't be spoken. We cannot say the other one on YouTube, otherwise you get like bullshit. So it's a name that cannot be spoken. How do you think it's going to affect? Because will there be a time that we will be out of a show for a couple of weeks because this is what we do?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a definite possibility. I think they're going to try and deliver as much as they can from the Performance Center if they can. But it will just have to be like a week by week basis. And if they realize that, you know, viewing's declining and people aren't as interested, they might shit can it. But I feel like more people are going to be watching because more people are going to be stuck at home and having nothing to do. So I feel like they're going to just try and make the best of it. And yeah, just keep running shows from the Performance Center, which will be good because, you know, it's good for the superstars as well. They'll be able to spend some time at home instead of traveling the world so much, and they'll be able to sort of have a bit of time to recuperate as well. So I think it kind of benefits either way for the superstars behind the scenes. I honestly think Vince is going to try and make the show go on as best he can.
Yeah.
And look, we had a lot of fun tonight, and hopefully they can like sort of keep that up.
Yeah, like I understand the reluctance on his end to pull the plug. It's a lot of money's invested in it. It is a tough situation. I agree with you. I think they over the weeks they drip feed some of the WrestleMania matches. They try to keep some of the story going the best they can to build up to a time away. Or even if they do have to pull the plug on television, they have a couple of weeks off and they come back like they never left. I think people will still come back.
If not, they'll come back better.
Yeah, if not come, like, you know, as in
they'll be rejuvenated and
with the amount of
stronger than ever.
Yeah, exactly. So with the amount of travel that these guys have to face, there is a concern. There is a risk for being, you know, infected with the Voldemort virus. So they have they are possibly in the best place, as you mentioned, to rest up, to get ready. So when that a month or whatever is up, they can come back and they can deliver. Now, I understand this throws a complete spanner in the works for the rest of the year because this will affect whatever pay-per-view is after. This will affect the potential Saudi deal. This will affect everything for the rest of the year. However, this is something that is unprecedented. This is something that is unpredictable. And there will come a time, similar to the Ruthless Aggression documentary right now, there'll come a time where we get to watch this as a documentary, like, remember when we were there? Remember when we saw this? Remember when we were involved? And remember that time that WWE made the right call and didn't put all their wrestlers at risk, or how they, how they adapted in that time and were able to still deliver a show. And
distance makes the heart grow fonder. Like, even if they do get called off TV completely, like, distance makes the heart grow fonder. When they come back, we'll want them more.
Because the same decision is being made around all wrestling. So AEW's in the same boat. Even locally, Melbourne City Wrestling cancelled their upcoming Fallout event. Like, it's not happening. And
Cancelled everything.
Yeah, take
downloads been cancelled.
Yeah, like take the time and just and go with it and have a small break. People will come back.
We need to be proactive on this. Otherwise, this virus is going to spread, and we are going to have that global pandemic.
Yeah.
So we have to act quick, and we have to act now.
Yeah. So the Mullet Show offers an interesting selection. I think we should stream our own show on the day and simulate WrestleMania on WWE 2K20. You know what? I fucking love that idea.
Why don't we just film me throwing James around on your couch?
I think we can
call
do
it
that.
Dulcimania.
I think, Craig, you and I will be in this room and we will do our own WrestleMania. We'll stream for the 6 hours or whatever, and we will just do it. As per the predicted card that Dash gave us, we would have 2K20 do it for us. I better start promoting that in a couple of weeks. So I better start promoting that, eh?
That'd be great.
All right,
good idea.
Craig, you and I need to work this out. I need to use your graphic design skills, or Dash, if you're still listening, I think you should help us out. Let's make something cool. Let's make this spectacular. And if I can, I'll try deck out the space to be a bit more commentary boothy, and we'll have a laugh.
Ooh, that'll be fun. I
think it'll be good fun.
Yeah.
In many ways, I think that's the end. End of the show. Let's get this wrap up happening. This has been our SmackDown analysis, SmackDown in review. This comes at you every Tuesday morning on your podcast services, 8 a.m. on that time, or 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you want to join that wrestling conversation, head over to facebook.com/group/thepopculturist, Twitter, Discord, Instagram. All those links are in the down below area. One thing that if you want to join the conversation as it happens, head over to twitch.tv/thepopculturist. Join the conversation as it happens. So you just like Dash, just like the Mullet Show, just like Josh Robinson, just like Ready Player B, just like Fid McAwesome, Mad Dog, Willow, a bunch of people came in, had a chat today. It was really cool. Thank you everyone for joining us. One thing we'd also like you to do is share this conversation. Tell your friends, tell your family about this little show with a cool name. I guarantee you'll instantly win them over with the name. Young and the Wrestlers.
If you're in isolation, go watch our backlog on YouTube.
Yeah, watch some of our old shows. Watch some of our prediction streams we did in the past and see how wrong 2K20 got it. Watch how wrong 2K19 got it. But yeah, while you're there on your podcast services, be sure to give us a 5-star rating, or the rating that you believe we deserve, as well as a written review. You maybe also want to check out our other shows, like For the Players. That's our Pop Culturist That's the Pop Culturist PlayStation podcast. It'd be really cool if you could share the love and help people come. As you said, as B said in the chat, we want to be positive. We don't, I'm going to call him out. We don't want to be Dave Meltzer. We don't want to be Brian Alvarez, who are just forever fucking miserable and and just negative. I don't have fucking time for that. I want to come and have a place that is fun, a place that is positive, and a place that is enjoyable. And if you know someone that needs that in their wrestling life, they're too wrapped up in all the negative, bring him here, or bring him to Josh as well. Come and join the positive vibes of wrestling and the good that it can do to all of us. If you want to support us financially as well, head over to patreon.com/thepopculturist, or you can head over to our merchandise shop at popculturist.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. Jem.
Yes.
That's it for today. We will see you on Wednesday, or Tuesday night. No, wait. Wednesday night for recording. Thursday for the services and stuff as we chat Raw.
Yes.
I'm Ryan Betson.
And I'm Jem.
We'll see you then.
Bye.
The Young and the Wrestlers, the Pop Culturist WWE podcast, is fan support over at Patreon at patreon.com/thepopculturist. And we'd like to thank our Patreon producers and our Patreon founders for their kindness, their support, and their generosity. Our Patreon founders: Alpha Ferret, Craig O'Flaherty, David Chataway, Jesse Stevenson, and Jacob Garner. And our Patreon producers: AJ Abatomi, Damian Holdies, Kyle Dunn, Lee Wintershoven, Nathan Massetti, Paul James, Pure Mongrel, and Sean Levitt.